Life is about meetings and partings. People walk into our lives every day. Some stay for few minutes, some for months, some for years, and some last a whole lifetime. No matter who you meet, where you meet, you have to part. But the pleasure is in getting to know them. The pleasure is in getting to connect and create moments. Moments of joy, moments of laughter, moments of patience, moments of resentment. Moments that you would cherish even after the strangers have long left. How wonderful would it be if actually no one was a stranger?
Surely it will be wonderful if no one around remains a stranger. If we meet a person and we can see the person just in and out, and we can tell a lot about that person. With numerology, something like that is actually possible. You just need to know two very basic details of that person. One would be his birth date, the other would be his birth name. And out of those two very basic details, you can tell a lot about that particular person. However, certain moments come when we do not get the opportunity to ask about a person's birth date. Is it still possible to tell a lot about that person by not knowing his birth date, or perhaps by not even knowing his full name? With numerology, actually, it is possible. Inner World Revealed is all about the hidden mystical codes in our lives, how we can read them, how we can benefit from them. It is all about knowing ourselves better and the energies that surround us better. If you want to know about yourself more, about your surroundings more, you want to decode the mysteries of your life, you can subscribe to the channel and get the updates on the latest upcoming logs. Every log will decode new mysteries and talk about new secrets in our lives. You can also join my Facebook page and connect with me out there. And for personalized readings, you have to mail me here all your inquiries. Now, coming back to the topic, ladies and gentlemen, the topic today is how we can get to know about a person without even having his birth date, or perhaps by not even having his full name. Let us find out.
The aspect of the name which tells us about how the person feels from inside is the vowels in his or her name. Firstly, the vowels form the soul urge number. The soul urge number is the deepest hidden desires a person has. You might not initially see it, but it is there. Soul urge is the addition of all the vowels in the name. The second most important part is, what is the first vowel? The first vowel appearing in a name is also very, very important and can tell us a lot. Say we don't even add the total of all the vowels, we can still figure out a lot. The third thing is, how many times is the first vowel repeating in the name? More number of time it repeats, stronger gets its influence. The fourth point would be, if there is any other vowel after the first vowel.
You see, every alphabet in our name has a hidden mystical meaning about it. Even the missing alphabets has a hidden mystical meaning about it. And the most important alphabets in a particular name would be the vowels. Because vowels say how we actually feel inside. We might not be showing it outside, but we definitely feel like that inside. And the most important vowel out of all the vowels would be the first vowel, because it is said that the first vowel is the energy upon which the soul has entered our bodies.
So we got our vowels A, I, U, U. Now let us find out what happens if we have any of these as the first vowel. Say if we have an A, and we have James Cameron with the first vowel A. The first vowel A makes a person bold, independent, inquisitive, and interested in research. With the first vowel A, a person becomes pretty sure of himself. They know what they want and why they want it. And as I said, if the vowel repeats itself, it gets even stronger. James Cameron has repeat A's, so that makes him doubly sure of himself. The next vowel in the line is E. Now, if we look into the Pythagorean alphabet chart, we can see E is the fifth letter in the sequence. Previously, A was the first and E is the fifth. And E resonates to the number 5. 5 we know is the number indicating change and adventure. So when you see a person with the first vowel E, be doubly sure that the person likes change and adventure, gets bored with routine stuff, and is very versatile, has a quick wit and quick grasping powers. E's also like to have a very eventful life. They like to meet loads of people, go places, and we got Steve Jobs with the first vowel E, and once again, he too has repeat E's. The third vowel in the vowel sequence is I, and it resonates to number 9. It indicates wisdom, sensitivity, creativity, and intuition. I can also indicate family issues, something to do with the birth parents. Will Smith and Michael Douglas both have the first vowel I's and are known to be having issues regarding birth parents. However, it might also mean deep connections with the birth family or the birth parents. Bill Gates or William Henry Gates III also has I as the first vowel.
Now guys, it is also possible that after the first vowel you have another vowel in your name. Say suppose your name is something like May, Claire or Leonardo. In India we have names like Saurav, Deepthi with a double E, or some name like Soumya. In such cases, what you do is you also consider the second vowel. So you actually consider the combined effect of both the vowels taken together.
Pierce Brosnan has the first vowel I followed by an E. So in this case, the combination of both I and E has to be considered together. I, as we know, indicates sensitivity, intuition, wisdom, and creativity, as we discussed earlier. Again, E indicates a need for freedom, adventure, and change. When O appears as the first vowel, which is the fourth vowel in the sequence, as you can see, you become methodical and like to be systematic and orderly. O's also show a love for family. While they work, they tend to work in their own pace and do not like to be controlled or hurried. Oprah Winfrey or Oprah Gail Winfrey has the first vowel O.
Now one thing that I would like to mention out here is the effect of the first vowel is always felt in the person, but whether in a small way or in a big way depends on what other particular numbers the person has.
So that brings us to our final vowel, which is U. U looks like a cup and perhaps a collector. So a first vowel U would make a great collector of ideas or even material things. U's are very receptive and that also broadens their perspective. They are often seen to be very communicative as well. We got Julia Roberts or Julia Fiona Roberts with the first vowel U.
But that's not the end of the vowel story, there's one more left.
Now let us understand the Y factor. Y in numerology is often considered as a vowel because many a times it's seen that it's used in the place of a vowel. Say suppose we have the name Tyra Banks. In her first name and then in her middle name, Y can be considered as the only vowel. Again, if we have a name which is something like Yanni or perhaps Yannis Chrysomalis, in this particular case, Y is followed by a vowel or perhaps two vowels. So in this particular case, Y has to be considered as a consonant and A or perhaps IA as the first vowels. Y is the 25th alphabet and resonates to 25 by 7. Ys are secretive and opinionated. They have great inclination towards spirituality and metaphysical matters and often are seen to be asking profound questions. They have an air of mystery about them. Y as the first vowel can also be sometimes a bit too cynical.
So that was all about the first vowel. In case you have the full name for the person, you can find a lot more about the person. Firstly, you can calculate the soul urge number, which is addition of all the vowels in that person's particular name. And the soul urge number actually tells us a lot about a particular person. Once I said before that the soul urge number tells us about the deepest desires a person has, and it shows how the person actually feels inside. So once you know this particular number, you actually know what really makes this person very, very happy. Now, if you find the compatibility between the soul urge number and your personality number, the personality number is the addition of all the consonants in your name, and it tells us about how a person presents himself to the outside world. And if you check the compatibility, how would you check the compatibility? You have to click on the link and view the video. I have covered the number compatibilities out there, and you can actually check out the compatibility between one's personal numbers as well. And if you find that the soul urge number is a challenge or is toxic to the personality number, what happens is the person is not presenting his deepest desires. He is actually not showing what he really feels inside, and he's different from what he shows to people. Now that we are talking about vowels and consonants and all the alphabets, the sequence of the alphabets, that brings me to a very important question which is very frequently asked but very rarely addressed. And the question is numerology actually language specific? Because we are talking about alphabet sequences out here. We are deriving the numbers of the alphabets from a particular sequence. So would it really change? Would the meanings of a particular name really change with changing languages? And would actually the same sound have a different number in a different language? Let's find out.
This long time ongoing debate has seen two genres of numerology. One which serially numbers all the alphabets, and the other that follows phonics. Which one actually must we follow? So according to one genre, which is this is the alphabet chart, where you can see the alphabets are not being actually totally arranged in the prevailing order. Also, the number 9 is not assigned as a numeric value to any of the alphabets. The other alphabet chart would have a table like this, which includes the number 9, and if you notice carefully, it also serially numbers all the alphabets. For example, J is a 10 by 1, K is an 11 by 2, L is a 12 by 3, and so on. The chart which we are looking at right now is the Pythagorean alphabet chart, and the chart which we saw earlier is the Chaldean alphabet chart.
Pythagoras was known to be the father of modern numerology, but the beginning of the most ancient form of numerology predates Pythagoras. Chaldeans are known to be coming up with the most ancient organized form of numerology, which was then passed on to the Kabbalah. Hebrew language had 22 letters. Each letter had a specific meaning. It had a symbolic and mystical meaning to it. All the letters were arranged serially. The only exclusion was the number 9. The number 9 was not allotted as a numeric value to any of the alphabets because the number 9 was considered to be very holy, sacred, and it was considered to be the number of God. So they had letters like Aleph, Bet, Gam, and so on.
Pythagoras translated the art of reading numbers in his own way and developed a chart in Greek. So he had alpha, beta, gamma, and so on. And once again, he also numbered it serially and also included number 9. Greek had 27 alphabets. From Greek, the chart was translated into ancient Latin and then to modern Latin. Latin letters were all similar to the modern day English letters. However, the confusion began with the third letter of Hebrew, which was Gam, or the third letter of Greek, which was Gamma. Alpha, beta, gamma. Both gum and gamma resonated with the phonic sound g. However, the third letter of English, which was C, resonated to the sound k. There was a difference of sound, and sound is a very important part of numerology.
Now you see, the same letter, the same sound, or the same phonic has different meanings in different languages.
Say, for example, consider the word bath. In English, actually, it doesn't mean anything. It's not a word in the dictionary. However, in Chinese, it means something. It means 8. 8 is considered to be a very lucky number in China, and bath is considered to be a very lucky sound as it sounds similar to fat. In Cantonese, fat means fortune. In India, the national language is Hindi. Bath in Hindi has a totally different meaning. Bath in Hindi means to talk.
And if you look for the same word in some other language, it might actually mean a deadly disease. And the same word can evoke different feelings in the subconscious in different places and different languages. So actually, numerology, specifically name numerology, then becomes language specific. So I believe assigning numeric values to alphabets serially any day makes more sense to me, because if I call a place a 3A, I actually mean 3 first. By 3B, I understand 3 second. By 3C, I understand 3 third. So in my mind, in a lot of people's mind, A resonates to 1, B to 2, C to 3, and so on. The human mind has always questioned the unknown, imagined the unimaginable, and has created revolutions. Human beings have always found the most simplest methods of communicating the most complicated information. Starting from cave paintings to hieroglyphics to alphabets to numbers to binary computer codes, we have just done it all. And that is why we must never stop questioning, we must never stop seeking and learning more and more, because only that can take us ahead in life. And on that note, let us call it a day, let us end the topic out here. And as Steve Jobs has said that stay hungry and stay foolish, so let us stay hungry and let us stay foolish, and let us keep on learning more and more and make the most of our numbers. Let us be positive. And for the time being, have a nice day and bye-bye.